Welcome to another video. Today, we come together to share some news that weighs heavy on our hearts. It's never easy to talk about loss, especially when it comes to people we've admired from afar, whose talents have touched us in profound ways. In today's video, we will be discussing the lives and legacies of several celebrities who tragically passed away. Their stories are a reminder of the fragility of life, but also of the incredible impact a single person can have on the world. Please do not forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload next. Leaving fans and the music industry in shock and mourning. Sayuri, whose real name was Satomi Ishihara, was known for her unique vocal style and captivating performances. She rose to fame in 2015 with her debut single, Mikazuki, which became an instant hit. Her career was marked by a series of successful releases and collaborations with renowned musicians. Sayuri's sudden passing comes as a great loss to the music world, as she was considered a rising star with a promising future. Her ethereal voice and emotional lyrics resonated with fans, touching their hearts and leaving a lasting impact. Sayuri's music often explored themes of love, loss, and the human experience, connecting with listeners on a deeply personal level. Sayuri's husband, Amarashi, who is also a singer, confirmed her death through social media. He revealed that Sayuri passed away on September 20th, and her funeral was a private affair attended only by close family and friends. In his heartfelt post, Amarashi expressed gratitude for the affection and support that Sayuri received throughout her career. He requested everyone to pray for her soul to find peace. During her battle with illness in her final days, Sayuri remained committed to her music, cherishing the memories of those who adored her voice. Unfortunately, due to privacy reasons, the family has chosen not to disclose the specifics of Sayuri's health issues. However, it was previously announced on social media that she had taken a break from work due to speech difficulties. After that, Sayuri ceased all updates on social media and refrained from making public appearances. Sayuri began her career in the entertainment industry in 2010. In addition to her singing talent, she was also a gifted composer, contributing to the soundtracks of various popular anime series. Some of her notable works include Rampo Kitten, Game of Laplace, Scum's Wish, Fate/Extra, Golden Kamuy, My Hero Academia, and Lycoris Recoil. In March, Sayuri tied the knot with Amarashi, a member of the band Misakai. Behind her success, Sayuri shared that she struggled with socializing and often felt disconnected from the world during her high school years. However, playing the guitar and singing gave her a sense of connection with people, and through her music, she was able to touch the hearts of many. Sayuri's untimely passing is a great loss to the music industry and her fans around the world. Her talent, dedication, and passion will forever be remembered. May her soul rest in peace. Dan McMahon was a musician from Rockford, Illinois, and his music touched the hearts of many. At just 41, he passed away, leaving behind not only a legacy of sound but also a deep void in the lives of those who loved him. Born in the small town of Rockford in 1983, Dan's journey in music began when he was only a boy. He would spend hours listening to his parents' vinyl records, mesmerized by the sounds that filled the house. Music wasn't just something he heard, it was something he felt, and it stirred something deep inside him. His mother used to tell stories of how, as a toddler, Dan would hum along to the radio tunes, bobbing his head in rhythm. It was clear, even at a young age, that Dan had a gift. At the age of 8, Dan's parents gifted him his first guitar, a small, worn instrument they had found at a local pawn shop. Dan didn't care about its condition. To him, it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. He spent countless hours with that guitar, strumming, learning, and getting lost in the melodies he created. Soon, he was composing his own little songs, expressing his thoughts and feelings through music in a way that words couldn't quite capture. As Dan grew older, his passion for music only intensified. He began playing at local talent shows and school events, captivating audiences with his raw talent. His love for music wasn't about fame or fortune, it was about sharing a piece of himself with the world. Finding his sound. By the time Dan hit high school, he had joined a band with some local friends. They weren't professionals, but they shared the same love for music. Every Friday night, they would gather in Dan's garage to practice. The space would come alive with the sound of drums, bass, and Dan's soulful guitar riffs. Neighbors would often stop by just to listen to them play. They didn't mind the noise, they loved it. Dan had a way of drawing people in, making them feel something with each note he played. After graduating, Dan knew he wanted to pursue music full-time. While his friends went off to college or started working in various trades, Dan focused on his craft. He started performing at local bars and venues in Rockford. His shows were intimate, filled with raw emotion and honesty. His voice, deep and rich, resonated with those who listened. People would say that when Dan sang, it felt like he was singing directly to you. In 2008, Dan met a group of like-minded musicians, and they formed a band called The Midnight Sound. They started gaining recognition not just in Rockford, but in surrounding cities as well. They played at festivals, community events, and local clubs. Dan, with his laid-back demeanor and easy smile, became a beloved figure in the local music scene. But despite his growing success, Dan remained humble. He didn't care about the spotlight, he cared about the music. His goal was never to be famous. He just wanted to make people feel something with his songs, and he did. Whether it was a slow ballad or an upbeat tune, there was something special about Dan's music that resonated with people. A gentle soul. Behind the stage lights and the guitar strings, Dan was a gentle soul. He was known for his kindness, always going out of his way to help others. Whether it was volunteering at local shelters or mentoring young musicians, Dan was always giving back to the community that had supported him throughout his life. Dan was the type of person who would stop and chat with strangers, always offering a smile or a kind word. He believed that everyone had a story, and he loved hearing them. His friends often joked that Dan never met a stranger, just friends he hadn't talked to yet. He was also deeply connected to his family. His parents, Jane and Robert McMahon, were his biggest fans, attending every show they could. Dan's younger sister, Emily, often joined him on stage, playing the violin alongside his guitar. Their bond was more than just musical, they were best friends. In 2015, Dan's life changed in a profound way when he became a father. His son, Oliver, was the light of his life. Dan would often say that nothing compared to the joy of hearing Oliver's laugh or seeing him dance to one of his songs. Music was still his passion, but being a father was his greatest joy. Dan McMahon, cause of death. Rockford musician and Rockford Area Venues and Entertainment Authority, RAVE, board member Dan McMahon has died after a battle with cancer. McMahon, 41, was guitarist for the musical group Miles Nielsen and the Rusted Hearts and co-composed, with Nielsen, the score for the 2009 Academy Award-winning Best Documentary Feature Undefeated. He also played with former Cheap Trick drummer Bun E. Carlos and the Monday Night Band, and contributed to dozens of albums in a professional career that spanned nearly 20 years. According to his Facebook page, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in June. McMahon also owned the Midwest Sound, which twice won the Grammy Award for Best Recording Studio. Rocky Moran, a name known to many as a fierce competitor on the track and a kind soul off it, passed away last weekend after a courageous battle with cancer. He was 74. Rocky wasn't just a racer, he was a man who lived his life with passion, determination, and an infectious love for motorsports. His story is one of perseverance, triumph, and deep love for his family and friends. Rocky Moran's love for racing began in his childhood, growing up in California. The roar of engines, the smell of gasoline, and the thrill of competition drew him to the racetrack from a young age. His father, a mechanic, would often take him to watch local races. "I felt alive there," Rocky would later recall. "It's like I knew where I was meant to be." He started his racing career in karting, where his natural talent for speed and strategy was immediately evident. He wasn't just fast, he was smart. He knew how to control the car, read the competition, and make the right move at the right time. This talent, coupled with his relentless work ethic, propelled him to greater heights. For every American racer, the Indianapolis 500 is a dream. It was no different for Rocky. After years of competing in various series and establishing himself as one of the most respected drivers in sports car racing, Rocky got his chance to race at the Indianapolis 500. In 1988, Rocky made his first appearance at the iconic event. He didn't just race, he left an impression. The Indy 500 is known for its unpredictability, with drivers facing challenges at every turn. Rocky wasn't a rookie anymore, he was experienced and wise. Though he didn't win, his performance was one of grit and determination. He returned to the Indy 500 two more times, in 1989 and 1990. Though victory at Indianapolis eluded him, it never diminished his love for the sport or his status as one of the most respected sports car racers of his generation. While many knew Rocky as a fierce competitor, those closest to him knew him as a man with a heart of gold. He was a mentor to young racers, always willing to share advice, encouragement, or simply be a listening ear. His humility, despite his achievements, was something that set him apart. Rocky's family was everything to him. He was a devoted husband to his wife, Diane, and a loving father to his children, including his son, Rocky Moran Jr., who followed in his father's footsteps and became a race car driver in his own right. Together, they shared the highs and lows of the racing world, celebrating victories and learning from defeats. Off the track, Rocky was known for his warmth, his humor, and his generosity. Whether he was hosting a barbecue for friends and family or helping out at charity events, Rocky's presence brought joy to those around him. "He had a way of making you feel special," one friend said. "No matter how busy he was, he always had time for you." The battle with cancer. In recent years, Rocky faced his toughest challenge yet, cancer. True to his nature, he approached his illness with the same resilience and strength that defined his racing career. He fought hard, never letting the disease define him or take away his spirit. Even in the face of pain and uncertainty, Rocky remained positive and focused on the things that mattered most: his family, his friends, and the legacy he would leave behind. During his battle, Rocky's family and the racing community rallied around him, offering their support, prayers, and love. He was never alone in his fight, and that meant the world to him. "Racing is a team sport," Rocky would say. "You're never out there by yourself. You always have a team behind you, pushing you forward." In many ways, his battle with cancer was no different. Rocky Moran's passing leaves a void in the hearts of many, but his legacy lives on. He wasn't just a driver, he was an inspiration, a mentor, and a friend. His life was one of speed, but also of kindness, love, and generosity. He touched the lives of so many, not just through his accomplishments on the track, but through the way he lived his life off it. As his son, Rocky Moran Jr., put it, "Dad always said it wasn't about the trophies or the wins. It was about doing what you love and sharing it with the people you care about." That's what made him special. Today, we remember Rocky not just as a racer, but as a man who lived life at full speed, who embraced every challenge, and who left the world a better place through his kindness and love. Rest in peace, Rocky Moran. You'll never be forgotten. In the heart of Chicago, where the streets danced to the rhythm of life, a little girl named Kat Glover was born. From the very beginning, she was not like other children. While most kids were busy playing games or watching cartoons, Kat was always moving, her feet tapping to beats only she could hear. Her passion for dance was clear from the start, and it wasn't long before everyone around her noticed that she had a gift. Her full name was Catherine Vernice Glover, but to her friends and family, she was simply Kat. And just like a cat, she moved with grace, agility, and style. She didn't just walk, she danced wherever she went. By the time she was a teenager, she knew that dancing was her calling. It wasn't just something she loved, it was who she was. The road to stardom. Growing up in Chicago wasn't always easy. There were challenges and obstacles, but Kat had something that kept her going, her dream. She spent hours practicing in front of the mirror, perfecting every move, every spin, and every step. She danced in local clubs, talent shows, and anywhere she could find a stage. Her energy was contagious, and soon, people couldn't help but notice the girl who danced like no one was watching. One day, Kat's life changed forever. She received a call from a friend who told her about an audition for a big project. The project was with none other than the legendary artist, Prince. At that time, Prince was one of the biggest stars in the world, known not just for his music but also for his electrifying performances. He was looking for dancers for his upcoming tour, and Kat's friend thought she would be perfect for the job. Excited but nervous, Kat decided to give it a shot. She knew that the competition would be fierce, but she had something special. She didn't just dance, she felt the music in her soul. At the audition, she gave it her all, pouring her heart into every movement. Prince noticed her immediately. There was something about the way Kat moved, her energy, and the way she connected with the music that stood out. After the audition, Prince approached her, and in his soft, mysterious voice, he said, "I want you to dance with me." Kat couldn't believe it. She had just been chosen by one of the biggest stars in the world. It was a dream come true. Dancing with Prince. Dancing with Prince wasn't just a job, it was an experience. Prince was known for his perfectionism, and he pushed everyone around him to be their best. Kat quickly learned that working with him meant long hours, intense rehearsals, and constant innovation. But for Kat, this was heaven. She was doing what she loved, and she was doing it with one of the greatest musicians of all time. Kat became an integral part of Prince's shows. She wasn't just a background dancer, she was a star in her own right. Her moves were bold, sharp, and full of life. Whether it was on stage during a sold-out concert or in one of Prince's music videos, Kat brought her unique style and energy. She and Prince developed a special connection, one that went beyond just performer and dancer. They shared a deep artistic bond. Their most iconic collaboration came during Prince's Sign O' the Times tour. Kat choreographed many of the dance routines and performed alongside Prince in what would become one of the most legendary tours in music history. Her dancing was a reflection of the music, wild, free, and full of passion. The impact of Kat Glover. Kat's work with Prince made her a household name in the dance world. She became known not only for her incredible talent but also for her ability to bring emotion and storytelling into every dance move. She wasn't just dancing to the music, she was living it, and through her performances, she made the audience feel it too. Even though she was dancing on the biggest stages in the world, Kat never forgot where she came from. She remained humble and grounded, always grateful for the opportunities she had. She knew that her success wasn't just about her talent, it was also about hard work, determination, and a little bit of luck. Throughout her career, Kat inspired countless dancers. Young performers looked up to her, trying to mimic her style and capture her energy. She became a mentor to many, always willing to share her knowledge and experience with those who were just starting out. Kat Glover's influence wasn't limited to the dance world. She broke down barriers, proving that dancers could be more than just background performers. She showed that dance was an art form in its own right, one that could tell stories, evoke emotions, and connect people. Beyond the stage. As the years passed, Kat continued to dance, choreograph, and inspire. She worked with other artists, appeared in films, and even took on roles as a teacher and mentor. Her legacy grew, and her impact on the world of dance became undeniable. But to those who knew her, Kat was more than just a talented dancer. She was a kind, generous, and loving person who cared deeply about the people in her life. She was the type of person who would take the time to help a young dancer who needed advice or offer encouragement to someone who was feeling down. Kat had a heart as big as her talent, and that's what made her truly special. In 2024, the world was shocked and saddened to learn that Kat Glover had passed away at the age of 62. For those who knew her personally, and for the millions of fans who had admired her from afar, it was a heartbreaking loss. But even though she was gone, her spirit lived on. Her dances, her performances, and her energy continued to inspire people long after she was no longer physically present. Her legacy was one of joy, passion, and creativity. Kat Glover had lived a life full of music, movement, and love, and she had left behind a world that was forever changed because of her. Remembering Kat Glover. As the news of her passing spread, tributes poured in from all over the world. Fellow dancers, musicians, and fans shared their memories of Kat and the impact she had on their lives. Many spoke about her incredible talent, but even more people talked about her kindness, generosity, and the way she made everyone around her feel special. Prince once said that Kat Glover was one of the most talented people he had ever worked with. Coming from someone like Prince, that was high praise indeed. But Kat was more than just a dancer, she was a true artist, someone who could take a simple movement and turn it into something magical. In the end, Kat's life was a testament to the power of following your passion. She had a dream, and she pursued it with everything she had. And in doing so, she not only fulfilled her own destiny but also touched the lives of millions of people around the world. Kat Glover may be gone, but her spirit will continue to dance forever. Akron, Ohio, was never the kind of town that screamed rock and roll. Known for its rubber factories and hardworking people, music wasn't the first thing most folks thought of when they thought of Akron. But for Freddie Salem, music was always the heart of the town, and the heart of his life. Freddie was born in 1953, a quiet child with eyes that always seemed to be listening to sounds no one else could hear. From a young age, Freddie was drawn to the rhythm of everyday life, the hum of machines in his father's workshop, the soft rumble of cars on the road, and the way voices seemed to rise and fall like melodies. It didn't take long before Freddie found an old guitar, dusted and worn, in his uncle's attic. That guitar, with its rusty strings, was the beginning of everything. When Freddie first plucked those strings, it was as if he found his voice. He couldn't stop playing. Hours would slip by as he sat on the front porch, strumming away, eyes closed, imagining himself on a grand stage somewhere far away. For him, the guitar wasn't just an instrument, it was a way to express feelings that words could never quite capture. As a teenager, Freddie formed his first band with some friends from school. They'd play at local bars and parties, covering songs by Chuck Berry, the Rolling Stones, and the Allman Brothers. His talent quickly became undeniable. Freddie had a gift. His fingers danced on the strings effortlessly, and people would stop whatever they were doing just to listen when he played. Music seemed to flow through him, and when he was on stage, he was unstoppable. It was at one of these small gigs that Freddie's life would change forever. One night, a man in the audience approached him after the show. The man was a talent scout from a big record label in Nashville. He had heard Freddie play and knew he was destined for something much bigger than the smoky bars of Akron. "Kid, you've got something special," the man said, handing Freddie his card. "If you're serious about music, come to Nashville. You belong there. Freddie didn't have to think twice. He packed his guitar, kissed his mother goodbye, and boarded a bus to Nashville with nothing but a dream and a few dollars in his pocket. It wasn't long before Freddie found himself in the heart of the music scene. He began playing with local bands, slowly making a name for himself as one of the most talented guitarists around. It was in Nashville where Freddie met a group of musicians who would change his life, the Outlaws. Known for their southern rock sound, the Outlaws were looking for a new guitarist. They needed someone who could bring energy, passion, and soul to their music. Freddie was the perfect fit. When he joined the Outlaws in the mid-1970s, the band was already riding high on their success, but Freddie brought something extra. His style was unique, blending country rock with a raw edge that was all his own. With Freddie on board, the band reached new heights. They toured across the country, playing to sold-out crowds, and their music was heard on radios from coast to coast. But life on the road wasn't easy. The long tours, sleepless nights, and constant travel took a toll on Freddie. He missed Akron. He missed his family. There were times when the loneliness of the road seemed almost too much to bear. But every time Freddie stepped on stage, the music carried him through. He lived for those moments when the crowd would cheer, and the music would fill the air, making everything else fade away. In the 1980s, Freddie decided it was time to take a step back. He had given so much to the music world, but he longed for a quieter life. He returned to Akron, where he could reconnect with the people and places that meant the most to him. He never stopped playing music, it was in his blood, but now he played for the love of it, not for fame or fortune. As the years went by, Freddie's legacy grew. In Akron, he was a local hero, a legend who had followed his dream and made it. People would stop him on the street to thank him for his music, and young musicians would seek him out for advice. Freddie was always generous with his time, sharing stories from his years on the road and offering encouragement to the next generation of guitarists. Even as he grew older, Freddie never lost his love for music. He continued to play, whether it was at a local bar or a family gathering, his fingers still moving effortlessly over the strings. He had a way of making the guitar sing, even in his later years. Every note he played was filled with the wisdom and experience of a life lived fully. In September 2024, Freddie Salem passed away at the age of 71. The news hit Akron hard. To many, Freddie was more than just a musician, he was a symbol of what it meant to follow your passion, to never give up on your dreams. The town that had watched him grow up now mourned the loss of one of its brightest stars. His funeral was held in a small church, the kind of place Freddie would have loved. Friends, family, and fans gathered to pay their respects. There was no grand ceremony, no big production. Just people who loved Freddie and wanted to say goodbye. As the service ended, one of Freddie's old bandmates stood up with a guitar in hand. He played one of Freddie's favorite songs, the melody filling the room with the same warmth that Freddie's music had always brought to those who listened. As the final notes hung in the air, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Freddie's spirit lived on in the music he left behind, and in the hearts of those who had the privilege of knowing him. Freddie Salem may have left this world, but his music, his legacy, and the memories he created will live on forever.